Oh, I see. I get it. I see what happened. I know what happened. Somebody was throwing switches. That's what happened. How in the world? All right, I gotta fix. We'll start all over again. Pretend that never happened. All right. Son of a! I can't believe that happened. You mean nobody heard a goddamn word I was saying? What the hell is happening? So, all right, where were we? We're back at the beginning. I'm Matt the Rat. Welcome to House Sparks Mega Worldwide. Hal will be out in just a few moments to deal with you knuckleheads. Listen, how come none of you subscribe? What's wrong with you? You come over here, you steal the ideas you hear, and then you pass them off as your own, and you don't have. Maybe you try to eliminate the paper trail. Is that what you're doing? I think that's what you're doing. Anyways, try it. Subscribe. Don't be afraid. Help us all out here. Now, can we get on with the goddamn show, please? Huh, buddy? Hey, where are you? I'll go find him. I'm over here. What are you talking about? All right, much better. Welcome to the show, etc., etc. So much. Why is there always such a monkey wrench thrown into the show? It's House Sparks Mega Worldwide. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. We'll just cut the top at the beginning. We'll just lots has been happening. I will be able to tell you guys in short order what's going on, but it's a lot. Lot has happened since we spoke this morning. Lot of craziness going around, but my lips are sealed. That's all I could say. But I can say hello to the chat room. Now you guys are there, and excellent. Now, yes, he's a New York rat. I pay him in pizza. That's how it works. Hi, everybody. Rat Sparks. Nope. Although, not a bad name. It's Matt the Rat. Way too quiet. Volume up. Okay, check. We'll bring this volume up. Yes. How about that? Is that a little better? That seems very loud. That seems like it's too much. Too hot, lady. It's too hot. But
Captain's log.
Okay, at least that works. Now, so much going on. We will get to it. Clips galore. Hello, Andrea. Hello, CSL. Hi, Mark. Also, and Mark, and the other Mark. There's so much stupid today. We're not going to be able to cover all of it. Can I just do something right out of the gate, though? I've shown this guy once before. David Schweikert, ladies and gentlemen. David Schweikert is Mike Johnson's, I was about to say his right-hand man, but I'm fairly certain if I said that, it would set off his porn app and embarrass him and his kid. So, Schweikert is the Deputy Secretary of Bad News. That's who this guy is. Let me show you who he is. Some of you might be familiar with this fella coming out here. Let me show you this guy again. This is the guy, not him. Hold on. Let's go into here. I'll skip forward. This guy, that's him. So he gets recognized because he's very popular around there. Let me tell you something. You know how we hate Donald Trump's nunty face? You know how you feel and you see him and you're like, ugh, dude was friends with Jeffrey Epstein for a quarter century. Yuck. Gross. Ick. What a terrible man. Why do I have to look at his stupid face? Okay. Very upsetting. I understand that feeling. I put it aside because I have to for work. You know, it's kind of like being a nurse or a doctor or a coroner. You can't really be squeamish. You know what I mean? But that's how Republicans feel when this guy shows up. This guy is a Republican. He works with the Republicans, and he's the guy who has to give them the bad news about Trump's stupid fucking tax cut and how it's the worst thing you could do right now. And let me just tell you, you know how I was saying, like, you give Republicans enough responsibility and make them genuinely on the hook for what happens, they start to sound like Democrats all of a sudden. Check this out.
Have you ever had...
Oh, wait, why am I not hearing his audio? That's terrible. Oh, because it's not. Yeah, I went that. Here we go. Here you go.
The time here where you basically are having to take on two things that push against each other, that create a real math problem, and that telling the truth about it, how do you say, oh yeah, it gets the crap kicked out of you, but let's have at it.
Okay, what he's talking about is the fact that Donald Trump ran as Santa Claus and has to govern as the Grinch. I got to tell you, by the end of this, Trump is going to wish Harris had won, if he doesn't already.
President Trump stood there just a couple days ago, and within his speech, when you talk about some of the policy to help our brothers and sisters in this country, there was the discussion of no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, these things. And the pushing to get us in Congress, Senate included, to move the extension of the 2017 tax cuts.
Yeah. How many people think that that's a problem? Not for Democrats who are against it for a myriad of reasons, but look at his hands. Look at his body posture. Look at his closed eyes and his kind of tilted head. And this is not, when you clench your hands like that, you're not excited to say what you're about to say. Look, like I'm worried. Look how, like, I have to squeeze. To turn my fingers that red, I have to squeeze really fucking hard. Look at the ends of his fingers. If he doesn't clip his nails, he would cut right through the backs of his hands and slice them off like Wolverine.
And I'm going to show you why that's so important. But at the same time, within almost the same breath,
I'm going to also point out that I'm alone. And no one is here to listen to me say these things. And the only people I could appeal to are Democrats, and they want me to go fuck myself because we dug this hole and now we're asking for a ladder.
The president looked out at us and said he also wants a balanced budget. Okay. Now we need to deal with the reality of how hard that math is, but there's a way to do it.
Oh, yeah, there definitely is a way to do it. If you want to shrink the military to the size of Italy's, I guess, for the time being, for the next 10 years.
I just don't know if intellectually, when you think about the things you heard behind these microphones this last week, how many of our brothers and sisters here, how many of the public, how many of the armies of lobbyists that are in the hallways here lined up saying they want more spending, more money, more regulation on their competition? So let's go through some of the basic math facts, and then let's have a brutally honest conversation of how we stabilize and how far we can actually go. All right.
Very exciting. So he's not talking to us. He's not talking to you, Democrats. He's not talking to people on our side of the aisle at all. He's talking to Republicans who hate his guts and wish he would shut up and stop doing his little displays on the floor of the House.
An oldie but a goodie.
This is fun. Watch this.
And the numbers are actually worse, but I didn't want to print another chart, so we've been using the same one for last year. Do you see all the red in the chart? That's what we call mandatory. It's auto, it's earned benefits, it's you served in the military, your pensions, those things. Interest is automatic. You got to pay it. See the blue? That's military and what we call non-defense discretionary. A member of Congress, other than in a reconciliation opportunity, we're going to come back why it's so important, only votes on this blue.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Look at the size of the dial. And they only vote on the blue part. Now, remember that when you hear Elon Musk wants to cut $1 trillion out of the budget.
Every dime a member of Congress votes on, other than that moment of reconciliation, is borrowed. It's all borrowed money. Last year, for every dollar we took in tax receipts, we borrowed $1.39. And look, the number of times I've come before here, these.
I don't think that's the case. I think we borrowed 39 cents. I think it was $1 to 39 because it's seven. We took in $5-something trillion in receipts, and the budget was $7. That if that was the case, for the $5 trillion you took in, you would borrow whatever, I don't know, nearly $8 trillion.
And I've done the charts and shown, in times when we've had very high marginal tax rates, we take in about 18% of GDP in taxes. When we've had very low marginal tax rates, we take in about 18% of GDP. And it's the seesaw of lower marginal tax rates, economy grows, higher marginal tax rates, economy shrinks. We're getting basically the same percentage of the economy in tax receipts. There's an article on the Manhattan Institute.
But also when you have to pay the actual amount out, the higher the taxes, the more money you draw in. It's not about percentages at that point. This is where he's doing a little bit of flim-flam, I would like to say, for the record, because if you're taking in much higher receipts, then you can spend more on fixing things. So you're taking that money and you're that 17% zone that they're spending. If you have more of it, you can spend it to pay down the debt, in theory.
Website that does an aggregation of lots of.
By the way, they don't, but
studies, many of them from left-wing groups, showing that if you raised every tax that functionally the Dems have offered that's gotten scored, and then you adjust it for its economic effects, you get about 1.5% of GDP in taxes, or additional taxes. Okay. The cuts we had been talking about were now actually getting much broader. But let's go back to that 1.5. We're going to borrow 7.25% of the entire U.S. economy this year will be borrowed. So when the president turned to us and says he really wants a balanced budget, that's a tough one.
Yeah, it's called bullshit.
His Treasury Secretary has talked about if we could get down to 3% stability. Ray Dalio, who's talking about a book he's giving away about his incredible fear of the squeeze that's happening around the world because the countries in the world are binging on debt.
Yeah, no, Ray Dalio is actually a big fan of Chinese growth, and he got fucked in that because it totally went south, and he hasn't recovered from that. And so he's trying to tell a different story, how it's not that his bet on China sucked, it's that the whole world sucks, and it's just part of it.
And that there may be a shortage of.
Like, we fucked up the world, so his Chinese bet went south. That's Ray Dalio's idea. And Tommy Bilyeu and all these other assholes have on Ray Dalio and still talk to him like he knows what he's talking about, largely because I think he's a billionaire and he's made money in hedge funds and that kind of shit, like going against the tide of the economy and betting against it or whatever. So, look, if your only metric is found a way to become a billionaire while slowly destroying everything that you believe in and ultimately losing that money more than likely, I don't know how to talk to you about what true success is.
Borrowable capital, which will cause us, as he says, a heart attack, says if we could get back to 3% of the size of the economy. Okay, maybe that should be our goal. But once again, remember, your government is functionally an insurance company with an army. Because
he means functionally. Your government is functionally an insurance company with an army. That's how they view Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid as insurance. That's what we're doing right now. Keeping stupid people alive.
Vast majority of our spending, the vast majority, are things like.
Well, not all stupid. Weak. They perceive them as weak.
Social Security, Medicare, other benefits you either get because you hit a certain age, you worked a certain number of quarters, you fell below a certain income, you're part of a certain tribal group, but they're automatic. And the one time we get an honest opportunity to really look at them is when there's this reconciliation, you're able to open up and look at the formula spendings. So let's actually walk through, for someone like
he does this every time, by the way.
myself.
There's one part of this I want to show you. We're not going to watch the whole thing. There's one part of this. I want you to see what he says to everybody who's against, that is calling out the fact that the Republicans who are talking about a balanced budget or fiscal responsibility or the debt, all this clamor about this, none of them actually give a fuck about it. And he is asking for help with this from Democrats and anybody sensible left in the government that hasn't been driven to the margins by the maggots.
Who basically is intellectually whipsawing them, just beating the crap out of myself. I do not want, and I believe it would be a horrible thing, to allow taxes to go up at the end of this year, particularly on small businesses and the working population. This is the average. And understand, I represent the Phoenix Scottsdale area. For my folks, our math is
it's also a cheat, by the way. This is if the Trump tax cuts, that's what they're talking about. This is the average tax hike per taxpayer. Who thinks that the average person who pays taxes is going to see the majority of this? The average is weighted way against all the people in the upper 1%, upper 10%, upper 20% that will be paying a lot more, maybe $10,000, $15,000 each, maybe even more, maybe 50. And then you average it out to the people who pay taxes in the middle, and it gets closer to this. The number isn't weighted heavily by people below a certain line because poor people don't pay any income taxes. It's weighted very heavily by the small number who will pay a lot on the top end. Okay?
$3,300, almost $3,400 a year. A year for my average family in tax hikes. But for the country, it's $2,850 is the tax hike that's already in the law. That's already what's coming at you.
Right. Average. But the average amount is not for the average taxpayer.
That's what the Democrats have been arguing, saying we shouldn't extend these tax cuts. And then they give these beautiful speeches about defending the working class. This is coming to you. This is part of the battle. And understand, those tax hikes aren't just going on rich people. 62% of the tax-paying population actually sees their taxes go up. And I'm going to show you some distributional charts later.
Yeah, okay. This is the part where he plays funny money with the numbers because he's operating in percentages instead of going, oh, see these people, their taxes are going up $100,000. Your taxes are going up $35. Therefore, everybody's getting hit with $3,000.
Remember, after 2017, we actually made the tax code in the United States more progressive, meaning the higher income, we're paying a higher percentage of the federal income tax. But what we also did is we functionally took half of our brothers and sisters who make much more moderate wages, and we pulled them off the tax system. They're not paying, now they're still paying payroll tax, which is your Social Security, your Medicare, your unemployment, your disability. But those you pay in as sort of your...
Yeah, you stupid middle class people who are not pulling your fair share.
Retirement account, think of it that way. But they pay almost no income tax. And we're mostly going to focus on these charts about the income tax side. Mm-hmm. So just once again.
Because you hate it and he thinks, the problem is Trump thinks tariffs are going to solve this whole.
Remember, this is...
Okay, now let me jump forward because there's at one point he goes through all these problems they have and they're like, this is a speech he's given multiple times. And you could tell by his body language that this is on record. Here you go. Hold on. This is one of the ones that he holds up. Yeah.
This year. So when idiots like me hold up charts like this and I get complaints saying, you're hurting my feelings. The fact of the matter is This is why we got to thread this needle and do really hard things. How do we extend the tax cuts, the tax reforms, the tax benefits, the baseline economic growth of what we accomplished in 2017, but find ways to offset as much of it as we possibly can.
Yeah, you can't do that because that's all red states. Now, people are like, you can't do that. And then he goes, help us.
Once again, even CBO and some of the outside studies made it very clear, if you offset the spending so that money stays in the economy instead of being borrowed by government here, by it staying in the economy, you maximize your economic growth because it gets lent to this business, it gets lent to this new construction project. When we take it out of the economy.
By the way, Infrastructure Act, Chips and Science Act, the rescue package, these are all things he's talking about. When you take that money and you don't, it doesn't leave the economy, it circulates in and builds wealth when you do those kind of things. Unlike tax cuts, which fucking evaporate that money.
Remember, our baseline, we're already borrowing $22 trillion over the next 10 years. How many more trillion should we stack on top of that? And if we don't find offsets, it means we doubled U.S. publicly held debt in 10 years. 240 years, and then we double it again in 10. And this is how insane the chart looks from the people running around this place saying, just use current policy because it's easy and I don't have to say no to the army of people sitting in my office wanting money for whatever their cause is.
By the way, he's talking about Republicans bitching at him. He doesn't give a shit about the Democrats that are saying that. No Democrat is walking up to him saying this.
You do realize when you start looking at this stuff, you're talking about 140, 150 plus % of debt to GDP. So you go from 100 today to almost a 50% increase in the next 10 years. It's uncomfortable. Primary driver of U.S. sovereign debt, interest, and healthcare costs. Now, are you all ready for if we were to do, the people that run around here just want to pretend the law doesn't exist and that if we're already doing it, we should just pretend, look the other way and just keep doing it. If we do that, that means in 9 budget years, interest, just the interest, and this was assuming the interest rates from like last December, we spend over $2 trillion a year in interest. So when you hear members from the different committees around here, how hard this is, how difficult it is.
He's talking about Republicans.
The Democrats are saying, how dare you talk about these benefits? Help us.
Aww.
Where's your creativity? Where's your modernization? Where's the use of technology to disrupt the cost but make it better, faster, cheaper? Help us.
That's it. So that's what I wanted to show you guys in, Boo Fuckity Who, episode 75. That's what it's brought him to, is that this is a guy, when he's talking about who's like treating him like shit and yelling, and he's whipsawing emotionally and psychologically back and forth about all these things, and it's a pain, and, like he gets yelled at and everybody says they're hurting he's hurting their feelings. He's talking about Republicans. He's talking about maggots. He's not talking about Democrats. And when he finally gets around to Democrats who are like, you're removing benefits from people who deserve them. You're hurting the least among us to fix this hole. And it's your fucking fault. It's your president. You have the House. You have the Senate. You ran on this stuff. So prove to everybody that your system works. If he ran on tariffs are going to patch the hole caused by his tax cut, then you have a responsibility to, I guess, let it fly. Don't try to put the fucking toothpaste back in the tube or the genie back in the bottle and ask Democrats to help you crowbar it back in. You guys run on this idea. We can cut taxes, raise tariffs, and that's going to make us fiscally responsible, and we're going to bring down the debt and all this. Trump is selling this. You don't get to say this to everybody in every fucking meeting and then have this poor sap come out, by him fucking self on the House floor and give the bad news to his party that Trump has been bullshitting everyone, and that bullshit is never going to stop. And none of the ideas are right. It's not going to work. They know it. You can do the math. I don't feel bad for that dude, David Schweikert, but I don't want to hear him bitch about stuff either. Like, tough shit, dude. Now, if I may, let's jump into this. Trump did a little digital asshat summit. You're watching House Sparks Megaworldwide, by the way. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. This is President Trump delivers remarks at White House Digital Asshat Summit. So all the asshats are there, which is good. You know, I'm glad they all got them in one room. And Bessent is the guy sitting on his right. David Sachs is over here. No relation to Jeffrey, I don't think, who is the guy who's shitting all over Ukraine everywhere, and everybody thinks it's the same guy. It's not. Lutnick Chucklenuts is over on this, is over to that side of Bessent. Well, you'll see. Check this out. So this is remarks on, and by the way, after Trump issued his executive order on cryptocurrency, crypto shit the bed for a bunch of reasons. One is they thought, and this is kind of important to know going into this, is that he created this crypto fund, right? This Bitcoin vault that they're going to, America's going to have a certain amount of this Bitcoin, and we're going to keep it, and we're going to, establish a nest egg of digital currencies. What he didn't tell everybody at the time, and what's in the executive order, is that that money, that Bitcoin already exists. The government, everybody in the Bitcoin world thought the government's going to start buying Bitcoin, which is going to drive the price up. But that's not what they're doing. We have the United States taxpayer, through seizure of civil assets from drug dealers and human traffickers, which is the primary audience of Bitcoin, seized about $16 billion worth of Bitcoin, and it's in an account already. Now, what's the huge difference between the existence of that Bitcoin and this account that he's doing? A name. They didn't buy more Bitcoin, which is what everybody was counting on to drive the price up. It actually just said, we're just going to put all this in an account we label as the Bitcoin reserve. But that doesn't mean we're going to fill that reserve or feel a responsibility to manage that reserve. You start to understand how they were hoping that the taxpayer was going to artificially prop up Bitcoin instead of, I mean, you might as well just say we have a fucking Maserati reserve as well from all the Maseratis they've seized from drug dealers. Also, there's a lot of North Korean shit when he's just wandering around. Oh, and he's got a chair shover now. Check this guy out. This guy comes over to push Trump's stool in.
Well, thank you very much, everyone. Great honor to have you. I know you've all been working very hard and very successfully.
These are all rich people, so that's what success means.
And it's a wonderful place, the White House. I want to begin. Is Johnny here from World Cup? I want to thank you for the selection.
Yeah, Johnny World Cup is here. He's no relation to Johnny Wishbone, but from the island of St. Croix, if I'm not mistaken.
Just had a presentation in the Oval Office, and I thought this was such a beautiful. This is the trophy. This is the big deal. The World Cup is the biggest sporting event, and Johnny.
No, it really isn't. The World Cup is I mean, it's big, but simmer.
Infantino was my friend for a long time, and during my first term, we worked out a deal to get the World Cup, and Then, because of lots of interesting things that happened, I ended up being president. Wanted to shut up. I was always disappointed. I wasn't going to make it. I was going to serve 8 straight. Instead, we did it the hard way, but maybe the more important way. So I will be with you as president, Johnny. So maybe you could just say a few words and show how beautiful the World Cup trophy is.
Yeah. They're starting the meeting with show and tell.
Thank you. Yeah, sure, please. Yeah.
The famous key.
That's a great key.
You want to open it, President? Or shall
Well, you go ahead. I trust you.
So this is the new trophy of a new competition. It's called the FIFA.
Yes, it was designed by the Mayans, and if you arrange it in just the right way, you'll bring about the end of the world, and it opens a portal to 2012, and the only survivor is John Cusack.
World Cup, the 32 best clubs in the world with the absolutely best players in the world. And for the first time in history, this competition takes place.
So, sorry, I might be a little behind on this. Are you telling me that the championship has the best players involved? That's how they work. Thanks. I just need to clear that up.
United States opening game on the 14th of June.
Right.
Obviously in Miami.
Oh, the 14th of June. Yeah, a bunch of you are like, oh, I need something to do on that day so that I don't make Trump feel like he's accomplished something. Nerd Halen is performing in Las Vegas at Station Casino on June 14th. I'm just saying, just weird that would come up.
On the 30th of July this year in New York, New Jersey. But it's not that. It's really special because it is a key and because, as you can see, if I manage to do that, yes, it's a bit tricky.
Maybe just have a soccer player come out and kick it, and it just automatically falls into. All right.
It's not. So this is a trophy. It is a trophy which
And if you fold it up and flatten it, it can go in most overhead storage bins.
represents, and that's why I think it's interesting to show this trophy.
It's like this design is based on what we like to call it the atomic soccer ball.
In this photo because it represents the past, but it's also projected to the future. There is no.
That's right. So it shows the past, like the Mayan calendar, when the Mayans, of course, blessed this earth with the slaughter of 50,000 people every time they opened a new temple, and they had dozens. This cut their hearts out and their heads off and their tongues out, and sometimes had sex with the corpses, that kind of thing or whatever. That's kind of the past that it represents. And in the future, nuclear Armageddon, because it looks like a split atom. So we try to go to the Armageddon from the rooter to the tutor. That's the way.
Sports trophy, which looks like that. It has engraved the history of the game of soccer or football, as we call it.
Soccer, it's soccer. It's soccer. We have a football here. It's soccer.
Participating teams are the first.
Although I think football is a better name for it because you can only use your feet. Whereas football, only one guy uses. Don't get me started.
Edition, the stadiums, beautiful stadiums in 11 cities in the United States.
The beautiful stadiums, which are a wonderful environment for the fans of football to kick the living shit out of anybody wearing the wrong color shirt,
Where this competition will take place. So at the same
Trade me right fucking now and hang up.
time, past,
Slap shot. It's the hockey, but it still works.
present, and projected to the future. And if I may, President, say another 2 words, and then I let you work. I would like to congratulate the President and the administration for not only for the World Cup, the Club World Cup, the World Cup, and the great work done, but also for this initiative that you are speaking about here. If I may add something in this respect, I'm not an expert at all, but FIFA, as you know, is a brand which is globally known, a very strong brand.
Sure.
The soccer economy in the world is worth around 270 billion a year. 70% of that, Mr. President, is in Europe. So imagine the potential that there is around the world only in soccer if we develop it. And so FIFA is very, very interested under my presidency to develop a FIFA coin.
Bored already.
To do it from here, from America, and to conquer the 5 billion soccer fans in the world. So if there is anyone here who is interested to team up with FIFA, here we are, together with the United States of America, and we will conquer the world of soccer with the FIFA coin.
That's the important thing. Never stop closing.
Thank you.
Never always be closing. Whatever.
That's right. That coin may be worth more than FIFA in the end. It could be quite a coin, actually. Huh? Anyway, thank you, Johnny. Great job.
So, sorry. Did he mention a fucking Bitcoin while I was making fart jokes with this dipshit?
5 billion soccer fans in the world. So if there is anyone here who is interested to team up with FIFA, here we are, together with the United States of America, and we will conquer the world of soccer with the FIFA coin. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That coin.
Oh, the FIFA coin. Yeah, it's a meme coin. Also, real quick, the FIFA coin, any of the money that would be made from it would go into FIFA's coffers. So if you add that money to what FIFA makes, then, all right.
That's right. That coin may be worth more than FIFA in the end. It could be quite a coin, actually. Huh?
No. If FIFA has $100 and FIFA sells a meme coin that costs them nothing, that makes them $1,000, FIFA's now worth $1,100. They're not worth $100 still. It's their coin, dummy. Also, meme coins aren't worth shit.
Anyway, thank you, Johnny. Great job. I just thought you should see this trophy because it's really, it's the biggest sporting event in the world, and we have it here. And we appreciate being selected. Thank you very much, John. You do a fantastic job. And welcome to the first ever White House Digital Assets Summit.
Yes, we're surrounded by all of our favorite digital asshats.
I know that many of you have been fighting for years for this, and it's an honor to be with you at the White House. I want to thank the White House AI and crypto czar David Sachs, Treasury Secretary. This is David right here, in case you don't know. You know David. And a man who's doing a great job.
There's a sign in front of him.
Secretary of Treasury, Scott Bessent, who's right here. Scott, thank you very much.
Okay, 2 for 2. He's got the guys on his left and his right figured out.
Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick.
Who is that way.
Wherever you may be, Howard. Hi, Howard. He's doing some interesting work right now with all that's going on. He's right in the middle of it and doing a great job.
Yeah, that builds confidence, wouldn't you say? If your boss talked about you that way, he's in the middle of it. It's a great job what he's doing with whatever's happening around him, which is a lot, but I don't understand it.
Thank you. SBA Administrator Kelly Loeffler. And hi, Kel.
Kelly, who's her?
SEC Commissioner Hester Pierce. Thank you, Hester. Acting CFTC Chairman Caroline Pham. House Majority Whip Tom Emmer. Hello, Tom. Representative Brian Stile. Thank you. Brian, thank you very much.
All right, get on with it.
As you know, promised to make America the Bitcoin superpower of the world and the crypto capital of.
Okay, the Bitcoin superpower of the world. Okay, decentralization is key to Bitcoin. If any country is the superpower of it, then it ceases to have any worth. It might as well just be yet another dollar. If one country can kind of seize control over it to the point where they have so much of it, they can manipulate the price. That's what would make them a superpower. Then what the fuck is the point of having Bitcoin? They could fuck with you all they wanted. If China became the Bitcoin superpower, it would undermine the purpose of Bitcoin. Ultimately, if it becomes a world currency, what they hope it will.
Planet, and we're taking historic action to deliver on that promise, as you know, around the table. Yesterday, I signed an executive order officially creating our strategic Bitcoin reserve.
The strategic Bitcoin reserve. Will the United States be buying Bitcoin and putting into that strategic reserve? No. It is strictly a housing vehicle for any Bitcoin we seize from criminals, who are the only people who use it, so whatever.
And this will be a virtual Fort Knox for digital gold to be housed.
Sorry. Yeah, a virtual Fort Knox for digital gold. Yeah. You think gold would have its worth if everybody was like, it's virtual gold. You could print it out on a printer and look at it.
Within the United States Treasury, that's a big thing, Scott.
No, it's not.
The federal government is already among the largest holders of Bitcoin, as you know. Really one of the largest holders in the world, with as many as 200,000 Bitcoin obtained via civil law and various other forms of law, and including enforcement actions. These existing holdings will form the foundation of the new
Yeah, that's where they got it for. They seized them from criminals.
reserve. Unfortunately, in recent years, the U.S. government has foolishly sold tens of thousands of additional Bitcoin that were worth billions and billions of dollars had they not sold them, but they did sell them, mostly during the Biden administration. And not a good thing to have done. From this day on, America will follow.
Also, they sold them at a high of about 100,000. Just saying. They peaked out. And it's, well, let's see. Let me look at, hold on. Bitcoin market, let's see. Crypto world, it's a song that was singing. Come on, slap happy. Bitcoin falls even after Trump officially establishes U.S. Bitcoin reserve. Who could have seen that coming? Let's see. This is crypto. How about this? Al Jazeera. Bitcoin plunges as Trump's strategic reserve fails to impress markets. This is so good. I'm glad he had all these guys around the table to give him advice, because it can be, I guess, a complicated thing. Let's see. There you go. Bloomberg. How about this? Trump's Bitcoin reserve disappoints market, weighs on crypto. I don't know what market you want. I mean, this. I know what you're thinking. Hal, this has a real Trump stakes kind of a smell to it. And you're like, yeah, you'd be right.
The rule that every Bitcoin knows very well: never sell your Bitcoin. That's a little phrase that they have. I don't know if that's right or not. Who the hell knows, right?
Right. And also, the never sell your Bitcoin thing started when it wasn't worth anything. And that didn't turn out to be the case. A lot of people ate shit. If you bought when it was higher, yeah, you might want to sell it when it starts to take a shit, because it may never recover because it's not a thing.
Who knows? Who knows? But so far, it's been right. And well, let's keep it that way. The Treasury and Commerce Departments will also explore new pathways to accumulate additional Bitcoin holdings for the reserve, provided it's done at no cost to the taxpayers. We don't want any cost to the taxpayers.
That's right. We don't want to. Yeah, we don't want to charge we don't want to buy any Bitcoin with taxpayer money. So I guess we'll just have to seize Bitcoin from private holders. So you guys, all you guys sitting around here, yeah, you better not fuck around. You're going to find out. because there's literally a mandate for the U.S. government to not buy Bitcoin. If we want any more, we got to get it from you dumbasses. So,
in addition, my order directs federal agencies to conduct an inventory of all crypto assets currently held by the U.S. government and determine.
Yeah, they're being watched at a warehouse by top men. Top men.
How they can be transferred easily to the Treasury. Non-Bitcoin digital assets will be held in a new U.S. digital asset stockpile where they will be managed properly. My administration also is working to end the.
You'll be managed properly, meaning never sold. Pretty easy management, I think. What do you just sit on it and hope it goes up? And if it cadavers, then you can't sell it. You just watch it go down and you go, well, I'm glad we spent all that time holding vaporware.
Bureaucracy's war on crypto, which was really going on pretty wildly during Biden until the election came about. About 5 months before the election, he became a big fan because he heard how many people were in favor of it and how many people love it and respect it.
Love it and respect it?
But I guess it didn't work out too well for him. People understood what was going on. And
did they? What? You know what? They probably did. But you could. How about you tell us? Why don't you tell us what's going on with Bitcoin? We'll wait. Explain it to us. Come on. Just to break it down. Tell us what a non-fungible token is, and you know the purpose of Bitcoin in the first place, and what the trade point will be on it, and how people even store it or keep it themselves, what the wallet system is like, and how the FBI basically has a backdoor to all of them right now. And then say that in front of all the guys there that are like shitting the bed right now because they're watching Bitcoin go down because nobody's impressed with your attempt to salvage it.
Pave the way for groundbreaking innovations in institutional finance. Under the Bitcoin administration, regulators.
The Bitcoin administration?
Strong-arm banks. I mean, they really did. They strong-arm banks into.
Sorry, the Bitcoin administration? I think he means Biden. They start with a B and an I? Sure.
Closing the accounts of crypto businesses and entrepreneurs, effectively blocking some money transfers to and from exchanges, and they weaponize government against the entire industry. But I know that feeling also. Maybe better than you do.
By the way, he took a. It seems that he took a huge dose of Adderall or Ritalin before he came out there because he's salivating. If you listen to his mouth, he's getting all slurpy again. That happens when he's super gacked up, and I think the worry about this meeting being kind of technical and him not understanding any of this shit made him hit an extra hard rail.
All of that will soon be over, and we are ending Operation Choke Point 2.0.
Is that their nickname for this shit? Operation Choke Point? Hold on. Initiated justice beginning in 2013, which investigated banks in the United States. I see. Here you go. Choke Point 2.0 was carried out by the presidential regulators to target and debank the digital asset ecosystem, according to the House Republicans. Was carried out by the president's regulators to target and debank. The FDIC used offline conversation threats of formal supervisory actions to pressure banks to deny service to digital asset firms, their employees, and even their customers. This is a serious abuse of regulatory. Department of Justice, bank regulators, the first Operation Choke Point. Targeted gun manufacturers, payday loan. Okay, so people who are gun runners and fucking human traffickers and drug dealers that use Bitcoin to trade around, banks were like able to kick them to the curb. And Trump's ending that. So we can get back to human trafficking the way Epstein would have wanted it.
Now, some people really suffered. It was ridiculous what they were doing, but in the end.
Yeah, what were they do? What were they doing? I mean, they really suffered. You must know. What were they doing?
They came around, but they came around for the wrong reasons. They came around only because they wanted votes, and they saw that tens of millions of people are were against them because of what they were doing. I also want to express my strong support for the efforts of lawmakers in Congress as they work on bills to provide regulatory certainty for dollar-backed stablecoins and
Ooh, dollar-backed stablecoins, the enemy of Bitcoin.
digital assets market. They're working very hard on that. This is a tremendous opportunity for economic growth and innovation in our financial sector, and will.
By the way, he's hoping that dollar-backed stablecoins, or the things that are pegged to the worth of the dollar as far as their function, will work as like a sub-currency that you don't accumulate debt on. That like there can be kind of a black market economy that bubbles up into the regular economy occasionally and gives it a boost whenever you want. By you loosen the regulations on what qualifies as gun running and human trafficking and drug dealing, and you let that money transfer over, and it kind of is allowed in the bank. So you let you remove the regulations on digital asset companies, which are Bitcoin and other meme coin and traffic coins, which is really what they are. You remove those issues, then banks can hold on to the cash equivalent or gold or any other resources that are transferred or changed into that, so you can do the back and forth, and that artificially will boost the market and hopefully patch a hole in the budget that he's currently fucking up.
Really go a long way. I think is
It won't work. Just saying.
going to be a tremendous. We feel like pioneers in a way of tremendous.
Yeah, you look like a pioneer with your. I mean, it does look like a raccoon on your head. So
Method of growth, and things are very much tied, and we want to keep it that way. The U.S. dollar, long into the future, we're going to keep it that way.
wait, you think they're tied as in even, or not as in tied to, as in the value just sticks with whatever the value? Oh God.
I hope lawmakers will send that legislation to my desk before August recess if they can. And they're very much working with you, and you know a lot of them, and a lot of them were committed right from the very beginning. So I just want to congratulate you all for being at the White House today, and a man who knows more about Bitcoin and AI and just about everything else than anybody, David Saxon. I'd like to have you say a few words, David.
Yes, David Sachs, if you could speak to us all, tell us a little something, David Sachs.
Thank you, Mr. President. We're all here today because of your leadership, your vision, and your generosity, and I really...
And if the sun didn't shine out of your ass, I wouldn't be as tan as I am now, sir. Thank you so much for the spray farts. That nothing makes me feel better than being downwind from you, sir. The only thing I think yeah, that's beautiful. The only thing I think, Mr. President, when I'm sitting next to you is I just wish my nostrils were bigger. Because I love you.
I want to thank you for that. We're also here because of your desire to make America great and to introduce a golden age in America, including for digital assets. And we're here because of your love of innovators.
Virtual golden age. Just for the record, it's just considered virtually. It's an AR golden age. Yeah. It's a golden age if you're wearing a VR headset.
Or as you might say, high IQ people. Yeah, we know you love high IQ people. And we have about 30 of them here in the room today. These are the top people in the digital asset industry. And one other thing that I think that you love is legal fairness. This is an industry that was subjected to prosecution and persecution for the last 4 years. Horrible lawfare, and nobody knows what that feels like better than you do. So we really.
Yeah, people kind of do. I would argue that Mark Fogel, did you have a chance to talk to him? He was in a Russian jail for a few years for a little bit of weed that would be legal in the United States. Also, you do realize that having regulatory standards is the only thing that's keeping digital assets afloat. And if you just turn it into the Wild West, it's fucking over.
Appreciate the fact that you understand legal fairness and that you're always willing to fight for the right thing, for legal fairness. You never back down. You stand defiant, even in the face of an assassin's bullet.
Jesus Christ. Get on with it.
It's an inspiration to everyone in this room, I think. So it's an honor.
Thank you. Thank you. I said I wouldn't do this meeting unless I had at least 4 totally spontaneous rounds of applause.
Thank you.
So I just want to say it's an honor to work for you. It's an honor to work for a president who works every day to get so much done on behalf of the American people. Your administration is moving at tech speed. It's really amazing. It's actually faster than any startup that I've been part of. Is that your administration moves even
Well, most startups don't have the backing of the U.S. government entirely and the taxpayers' money.
faster. So I just want to say thank you for having me be a part of it. I've enjoyed every minute of it. I love working for you. And thank you again for this opportunity.
Thank you, David.
What the fuck? I thought that was the preamble to him actually saying something. That's all. That's all it is. He just kisses his ass.
Much appreciate it.
Besant, pucker up, buddy.
And now I just want to pass the ball to Secretary Besant.
Scott?
Good. David, so
Hip, hop, taka, ta, ha, pa, ta, ha, ho. I want to say hello.
today, when President Trump has signed the executive order to establish the strategic Bitcoin reserve and stockpile, we're going to position the United States as a leader among nations in the digital asset strategy. It's
Very exciting. Great reading. I think it's very important to have your hands on either side of the paper so you don't start automatically reading off other people's stuff, because you might see Trump's note like, what the fuck is a Bitcoin? And that might throw you.
important for the United States to recognize this fact and get ahead of the other nations in the digital age. We applaud the President's direction to use the digital assets already in possession of the nation, and we are going to establish this Bitcoin reserve. We will use this authority to augment the asset side of the United States balance sheet. As I've said many times, President Trump is creating assets for the American people, while most past presidents have created debt, and a large part of this asset program can be in digital assets.
Yeah, fake ones. What hey, what better asshats than ones that you can just make up? What a great idea, Besant. Oh my God, you can give a tax cut because we have assets. That would be a liability, your tax cut, but we're gonna have assets to cover that liability. And where are you gonna get them? Oh, we're gonna seize them from people, and if they even exist at all.
We are going to end the regulatory weaponization against digital assets. The Biden administration's actions did nothing other than punish innovators, and that all of you have made it here.
Sorry, Sam Bankman-Fried was an innovator? Oh, maybe, you know what? Maybe he was. Maybe he was, I always thought we had the Madoffs and the Enrons of the world, but maybe he found a new way to be a scheming criminal fuck and rip people off.
Today is really a testament to your fortitude. Much of
God,
Treasury's
what kind of North Korean horseshit is this? Get on with it.
responsibility in this order relates to the tax code and determinations around risk weightings. And I'm here to assure you that we are going to work with the controller of the currency, the IRS, and we're going to rescind and amend all applicable previous guidance. And we are going to put a lot of thought into the stablecoin regime. And as President Trump has directed,
What's a stable coin? Is that, do you keep them in it? Does it have a horsey on it?
we are going to keep the
Why are you staring at his penis? Donald Trump, why are you looking at Besant's penis? Take your eyes off of his penis. What is...
U.S. the dominant reserve currency in the world, and we will use stable coins to do that. Thank you.
Now I'm going to explain what a stable coin is to everyone. Now you guys get ready. The biggest suck up is best for last.
Technology is at the foundation of the Trump presidency. He understands technology.
He totally does. You know what? You're right, Howard. Let him tell everybody about it. Let him, I don't even know why you guys need these crypto guys. He knows. Trump, I mean, it's almost embarrassing. Like, why you don't, I mean, it's like you're mocking him to his face. He knows, he understands what crypto is. You don't have to bring these guys and pretend they know more than he does. It's insulting.
Embraces technology, and he's going to use technology to drive America forward.
Yes, like clean coal.
The blockchain
Fine anthracite from the coal mines of West Virginia.
and Bitcoin technology are a key part of that thinking and embracing that. And here,
Real quick, what's Bitcoin technology? Honestly, I mean, there are crypto mines, you know, machines that mine crypto, both Bitcoin, you know, and Ethereum and other ones. But what technology are you talking about? Because it sounds like crypto technology is your way of saying asset hiding for criminals. That's what you mean. Ways to take your money and hide it in crypto in a way that Interpol and the FBI and CIA can't find, you know, if you're engaging in the sale of human beings.
today shows how much a leader the Trump administration and our president is. He understands it. He embraces it. As you said, you're a pioneer in this place, and this is where we're going. We're using the blockchain. We're using Bitcoin.
He knows that. You know, Howard, you don't have to tell. He knows what those words mean and how to use them. Look, Mr. President, please tell everybody about the blockchain. Well, some of the toilets in the buildings on my block, instead of a handle,
use digital assets to pound forward, and Donald Trump is leading the way. Can't be more proud of you today.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Howard. Kelly, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is truly a historic day.
Jesus Christ, this is fucking embarrassing. Do they ever get to actually talking about these issues?
As a crypto founder, I couldn't be more proud to be part of your administration. You're moving at the speed of tech for sure. And
it's on his paper, so Howard loves it.
I will just say it's a great day to have the war on not just crypto, but the war on innovation done. And under your administration, we are truly...
Yes, finally, the war on innovation is over, so we can drop all this wind and solar and thorium and hydroelectric stuff and go back to like the true power of the future, clean coal and coal firing crypto mining plants.
Into the golden age. And I'll just say, as the administrator of the SBA, small business is a tremendous network that crypto can be deployed against. And so the SBA is
against?
Open to crypto. So I look forward to working with all.
Yes, as a special tool for attacking small businesses in the country.
The leaders in this room to advance your efforts here. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. Thank you very much. Tom, please.
Well, Mr. President, I want to say thank you. I want to thank you for the amazing...
What the fuck? Again, does anybody remember any Biden roundtable or gathering that sounded anything like this North Korean like evening news hour bullshit?
Team that you put together. I want to thank you for David. I mean, this kind of a meeting, no one in this room could have envisioned this just a couple years ago. You are the one that...
Well, that's because nobody in that room knew what Bitcoin was a couple of years ago.
Has the vision. You're the one that said we are going to do 21st century.
Yeah, that's because Don Jr. in between rails of coke said, we got to do Bitcoin, Dad.
Finance right here in the United States of America. I've been doing this for 9 years. It is amazing how far we've come, and that's a credit to you, Mr. President, and your leadership, and God bless you for doing this, because it's going to make a huge difference with everything else you're doing. And by the way, Americans love it. They're going crazy. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Tom.
Yeah, this is it's just awesome. I know the market took a giant shit after you launched this, and people in the market called it a pig in lipstick. But, that's just their way of showing how excited they are, Mr. President, because very few people are like, this is magic. Just a fancy title for Bitcoin holdings that already existed. You don't say. God damn, this is embarrassing.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Everybody else?
Really?
Go ahead, please.
Does anyone want to say a couple of words?
Anybody want to kiss his ass just for safety's sake?
Cameron or Tyler, do you want to?
You're very shy in front of the camera.
Actually, Cameron, I think you said something earlier that I thought was really profound. You said that a year ago you thought it would be more likely that you'd end up in jail than at the White House. Do you not to put?
So you share a lot with Trump, actually. You think maybe that's because you should?
On the spot, because you didn't do anything wrong, but that was the environment a year ago. But you guys.
You didn't do. He wasn't caught. I think that's the difference.
Say something, either one of you.
Sure, that was actually Tyler who said that. but it's
sorry, I still get mixed up.
But yeah, we never thought that we'd get attacked the way we did in our backyard after trying to do the right thing for so many years and always trying to raise the bar with respect to regulations. So it's truly wonderful.
Sorry, you were trying. You got attacked in your backyard because you were trying to raise the bar on regulations. It sounds like your house was raided because you were breaking the law.
To see how things have changed and how the pendulum has swung back in the way that it has. And we've always felt that the U.S. should lead in Bitcoin and crypto. And
because we own a lot of it and we want the price of it to go up.
It's ours to sort of lead and win. And it's just wonderful what President Trump has been doing with this. And we look for.
Yeah, like what? Like what exactly? I mean, besides getting rid of all the regulations so that basically it's useless.
To working together. And thanks for inviting us, David, and setting this up.
Thank you. Thank you both. Please.
I was just going to say thank you, Mr. President. Cameron takes credit for a lot of my things I say, so it's not the first time. But the U.S. won the internet, and the U.S. should win crypto. So thank you for your leadership on this.
Thank you both.
We didn't win the internet. We started the internet. Thanks, Al Gore.
Very much. High IQ individuals around this table. That's what I always say. We need high IQ. So thank you very much. Would anybody like to say anything?
How about somebody say something about the actual thing? How about somebody actually talk about the actual regulations or what Bitcoin is for, or actually try to present a case for why it's anything more than a way for international criminals to trade in human bodies?
Okay, we'll come right.
I just want to express my deep gratitude for.
Really, way to buck the trend there, buddy.
The seriousness with which you're approaching our industry and how you're actually helping guide it in the right direction. I've worked with many central banks in other countries, and when I was working there, I was wondering why I, as an American citizen, can't help the United States financial system reach this higher level that the world.
Sorry, a higher level than what central banks are you talking about?
Is on course towards generally. Right. And so I'm very grateful that finally there's been a new level of kind of common sense and adoption of these ideas. Me and the other people in this room do believe that the crypto, blockchain, Web3 infrastructure is the next.
Web3? Really? Jesus Christ, man.
Of the financial system. And I think that the U.S. should have its leadership position continue in that new financial system. And I'm very, very happy to see people like David Sachs, Secretary Bessent, Secretary Lutnick taking this very seriously with their time, and very grateful to them too. So I'm just overjoyed to see this, and I think it is.
I think it's great that they all have massive Bitcoin holdings and are trying to shore these things up so that they can get out without losing their shirt.
Part of how the U.S. can continue its role in the global financial system. So thank you.
By the way, I do look forward to Howard Lutnick's Bitcoin being seized in the future when he's, when his crimes are revealed.
Thank you very much. I thought it was very important that we stay in the front of this one. This is a big one. And
it is a big one. It's a big one.
You know, China is pushing forward and very strongly as usual. But
Why is this load, you silly page? Let's see. China is always leading the way on these kind of things. It's always way ahead of everyone else. They're going to doing it very strongly and very powerfully. They're going to do it. Now, they're thinking about lifting that ban, and they've been under the table buying Bitcoin, even though individuals can't do it. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah. So the civilians are trying to find their way because they can't buy stocks in their own country, and you can only buy real estate. One of the few things that you could invest in that they could find was buying Bitcoin through brokers, you know, in Vietnam and Cambodia and other places like that. So they on an individual level, but the government itself is against it. There is a rumor that's been going around for quite a while that China's planning to ban. Well, here you go. I don't know if anybody has a calendar available. China plans to unban Bitcoin and establish crypto reserves by 2025. Fabulous. Oh, thank you, Deanne. I haven't even asked for super chats or any of that stuff today. I apologize. I've been too busy doing a show. Thank you so much. Okay. So, no, China's not ahead on this. As a matter of fact, the average citizen is not allowed to use it.
we're way in the lead, as we are in AI and other things, and we want to stay.
Yeah, right up there. Yeah, we're ahead in Bitcoin like we are in fentanyl and gun deaths.
There. So I thought this was very important, and we have some brilliant people sitting around this table, and it's an honor to have you involved. But we want
at the White House and high IQ something or other.
Stay at the forefront of everything.
Yes, we do. It's true. We want to stay at the forefront of everything: fentanyl deaths, gun deaths, Bitcoin, human trafficking, drugs. Everything Bitcoin truly stands for.
And this is a very important day in your lives. I know you worked, some of you, very long before people really understood what was happening. And
well, technically, you don't understand what's happening, so
I congratulate you, but this is a big day. Being in the White House is a big deal, and you have great support. Thank you all very much. Thank you very much.
Okay, I don't know what the fuck. What a waste of fucking time. Meanwhile, is this, where is this dipshit? Hold on. Trump also signed a bunch of things. Before we get into that, can I jump into something that I showed earlier on when Rob Glenn was on the show? It's going to be an all-tech Friday, apparently. Also, let me say hi to the chat for a second, though. Let's remember these poor millionaires and billionaires. Yes, they're having a rough time of it. It's great TV, though, sure. Thank you so much. Oh, I appreciate that. Can't wait till every rug is there. Yeah, well, it's all rug pull, ultimately. That's going to be fun. Can you use the golden Fort Knox? Yeah. Yeah, so Glenn is fucking stupid. And I've told you that, like, most people talk about AI the way they talk about in a vacillation between a teaspoon of water that cannot quench your thirst and is not quite there yet to a tidal wave that's going to wipe out everything. Glenn is in the tidal wave camp. It shouldn't come as any surprise because largely he's dumb. I don't know how he built I think it's the chalkboard that gave him the illusion of knowing anything about this shit. But he's dumb. And I have not pre-watched this. I just saw, God bless you, Can't Stop Lying, found this video, and I was like, head desk.
I want to talk about who creates. I want to talk about who creates jobs. What's happening with the economy? We're going to get into that here in a second. But Stu, when we went off the air.
Let me guess. When a Democrat is in office, it's not the federal government. Only private industry creates jobs. And when Donald Trump is in, he gets credit for every job that is gained, and the losses are not his fault. I'll just save you the trouble of watching whatever he
here
has to talk
in the
about.
commercial break. He was like, I don't know if I agree with you on what I'm saying is freeze all of the big spend. Do not start any new airplane design at the Pentagon that is a 10-year contract. That most likely will be a waste of money because AGI and ASI is coming.
You tell him, Glenn. AGI would be artificial general intelligence, which would be a good description for shit for brains here and what he thinks he knows. The toss up between AGI and ASI, as far as a term, is useless. I would argue that AGI, what they call artificial general intelligence, is what we think of when we think of AI. If it ain't AGI yet by their measure, it ain't AI yet by 99% of the people who are paying attention's measure.
And that will change everything. It will change warfare.
It's artificial superintelligence, by the way, is the ASI.
Just will. Drones, $500 each, have already changed warfare.
Right. Yeah, that's why Ukraine's still going to be able to fight on with just the resources that Europe gives them, and they don't necessarily need our help anymore. We got them over the hump. Thank you, Joe Biden. And Trump got in just in time to not be able to really do shit.
We have to be preparing for the future, and that
That's right. We need mosquito-sized drones that explode and grub your backside.
future is much more nimble, much smaller, and I have a feeling much cheaper.
Are you concerned about a bridge here, though? And we don't know when this is coming. We don't know how it's going to develop. We don't know what it's going to look like. No one
I'm glad I tuned in for information. Thanks, Stu.
does. We still need the best planes while planes are important. right?
But we don't need to start any new. Fix what we have. Finish.
Yeah, throw some fucking duct tape on it. Look, we're not going to need battleships. The future is going to be one with fingernail-sized killer drones that just like, and then they just go right through you, and they leave a teeny little slice right here and a teeny little slice in the back, and then you don't even kill you. They just turn you into an automaton working for the other side.
What you've got.
It's a Neuralink. There's going to be like these drones that drop Neuralinks on people and just like land on your head, and like pod people, they just grow into your head, and then you become an agent for the other side, and you go on stabby stab, and it's way cheaper.
In production, but you don't need to sit down and okay a new design for a new.
Also, what are you talking about? No, they haven't announced an F-40, you dumb motherfucker.
Jet.
It's a big bet, though. I mean, you're making a big bet on ASI and AGI with no backup plan. I mean, why wouldn't you want to have still the best planes?
That's right, Stu. Argue for more government spending. I'm enjoying this.
In your arsenal.
I think, look, let's look at it this way.
Yes, please help us out. Man who is in another video wearing a cowboy hat because he believes the cowboy lifestyle is coming back, and the rest of the time is wearing a oddly fitting white sweater that kind of matches his microphone that looks like a Dove bar with no chocolate on it, and a hat a Ralph Lauren polo hat.
Our generation's Manhattan Project is AI ASI.
Okay, well, thanks for working so hard on it. Yes, the app generation finally gave us something.
Back when FDR was convinced by Einstein, he didn't believe it could happen. Okay, and Einstein came in and said, I'm from Germany. They'll do it. And
why did he have an Italian accent?
oh, he convinced him, go ahead, build this bomb. It was magical. Nobody knew that we could even get there. You know, we could split the atom, but what does that mean? Can we actually make a bomb that will work? We put everything we had into it.
No, we didn't. We didn't stop building airplanes and boats and every other aspect of war to do it, though, dumb fuck. That's the point Stu is making. Don't make me defend Stu. He's dumb too. You can't spell stupid without him.
And we continued to build planes and everything else because we were currently fighting a war. And we didn't know if that would happen. Up until the very last moment when they said, dear God, what have we done? Okay?
Is that what they did? Dear God, what have I done? Oh, that.
This generation, it's going to end the same way in 3 to 5 years, except this time we know it's going to happen. Almost everybody who was a naysayer on ASI, almost all of them are now saying, oh, dear God, yes, it's coming, and it's coming much faster than we thought. It will be here by 2030. Most likely, it'll be here in the next 3 years.
Right. This is a man fearing his own obsolescence. Because if anything is able to point out his lack of intelligence, it will be artificial superintelligence. Meanwhile, what do you think he's going to do after that happens? I guess after he has to throw out his chalkboard, skate on personality.
Now, if that time continues to collapse, I mean, just in the last 5 years, it's gone from 2050, maybe, to now 2028, 2029. If that continues to collapse like that, we're at the event horizon of the singularity. So we know it's going to happen.
So Glenn is now a transhumanist and can't wait to get his Neuralink. He's going to sign up right away. Hey, it's like Noah's Ark, man. You either hop on board or the tide's going to get you.
Our job is to just bridge the gap as much as possible, but
yeah, at the Blaze. That's sorry, just to clarify. Our job at the Blaze.
Don't build things that we don't know are. Here's what our Pentagon should be doing right now.
Great. This is going to be good. Here's what our Pentagon should be doing right now.
Building nuclear power plants. Our Army Corps of Engineers should be building those little teeny nuclear power plants, build as many as they...
Yeah, the cute ones. The little teeny ones. Asshole. What you mean is he thinks you're going to power things, and micronuclear is a genuine thing. This isn't an original thought to Glenn. But they're going to take the same nuclear power plants that power nuclear submarines. This is why he thinks the Pentagon should be doing it, which makes no fucking sense. I don't know why it would be the Army Corps of Engineers. What kind of commie bullshit is this? How about you license the ability to make smaller nuclear reactors, which aren't a fucking mystery, to companies that make the bigger ones so that they can provide them at a cheaper cost and be responsible for them overall, just like you would do with coal plants and stuff, instead of making the taxpayer on the hook for exposing, I guess, the propulsion systems of our nuclear submarines by building one outside of the town hall in Wisconsin.
Possibly can. You don't even have to start them up yet. Just have them ready to...
Yeah, just build a bunch of nuclear reactors and sit on them.
Oh. So when the server farms are ready, when AI is there, we can power it. We won't have...
It doesn't work that way. It's not like a cake. Like, as soon as the batter's finished...
The power to be able to have ASI think and affect. We have to start thinking towards the future.
Hey, asshole. If you're saying it's going to come and it's going to be here faster than anybody thinks, but you're saying we don't have the power to power it once it does arrive, then we don't have it. Here's an idea. If you even get close to artificial general intelligence or artificial superintelligence, and it can think, one of the first things it's going to tell you how to do is power it. Why are you guys using nuclear reactors? Why don't you just use, or at least use thorium reactors? Save yourself the trouble. You can't weaponize the residual material from it.
Not what's the next generation of fighter jet look like? There ain't going to be one, dude. There's just not. At least with a person in it.
Right, because it's still going to have... I mean, AI is going to probably come up with something that flies that is going to...
Yeah, it's going to be hypersonic, and it is going to... I mean, it might even be of a new material. Here's what people don't understand. ASI is going to look at the periodic table of elements and go, guys, shuffle the deck this way, and you have a material that will go 9,000 miles an hour. It will hold up under the heat and the friction.
So why would you need war ever? Again, the hoverboard fallacy. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what happens when you have fucking simpletons running shit. All right. Chat room, I've talked to you guys about the hoverboard fallacy, and it's time we address it. Back, let's see. Future. So, in Back to the Future, fun costume Back to the Future hoverboard. Oh, that's cute. Try to Futurepedia fandom. Here you go. This is a picture of it. There you go. Yeah. Okay. So, love the shoes, by the way. Love the shoes in this, ladies and gentlemen. It's funny because I'm wearing like grayish kind of shoes myself, but they're all right. Anyways, I wear shoes. I'm like Mr. Rogers. I wear shoes inside the house because I feel like I have to work wearing shoes. Anyways, hoverboard. Okay, so in this movie, Marty McFly recreates the famous skateboard scene, but instead, because it's of using another kid's little, like roller skate wheel built scooter, that he breaks off and turns into a skateboard. He jumps on this thing, which is the skateboard of the future. But I need you to know that if this kind of technology existed, where you had an anti-gravity or magnetic repulsor, or even an efficient enough fan that could blast air out of it if it was indeed just wind using this. If you had this kind of technology where you could use this as a toy and it was readily available to be purchased by children on the streets, that the kind of technological advancements you'd have to have everywhere else would be fucking absurd. If you could power that, nobody needs fuel anymore. Nobody needs rubber for tires anymore. There wouldn't be any wheeled vehicles at all. If you have this, rocket ships no longer need propulsion to get off the planet. So the idea that there's a Biff Tannen that has power over other people is fucking dumb. The hoverboard technology is indeed the great equalizer. If you've gotten to the point where a kid can get this for Christmas, that means this technology has been ubiquitously used everywhere for a myriad of fucking things. And a lot of it would simply entail making transportation almost entirely free. Now, along with that, there's another one that goes along with the hoverboard fallacy. And that is, this could get out of here. They're not really, shit, they sold them. God damn, somebody has this thing. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the teleportation pod from The Fly. Help me. Apparently they weren't sold in pairs, but it was sold on my birthday in 2019 and not to me. So, damn it. But anybody know where I'm going to go with this shit? Never mind the fact that it looks like a helmet for a sci-fi villain from a 1950s movie. Doesn't it? Like if somebody wore it on a head, they look like they were like in this like robot diving bell outfit, Mars Needs Women kind of movie. It would look like this. So where does the movie fall apart in The Fly? And I love The Fly. I need you to know this. I love it. Love the movie. It's the only movie that my cousin Jerome and I, when we were watching it, we saw it in a theater where we both screamed out loud in a theater from fear, disgust, and surprise. And when he breaks the dude's arm, spoiler alert, when he's got fly powers and he arm wrestles the dude, cracks his arm in half, right? And his bone comes out his arm, like, ah, like that. We both went, ah! Like we couldn't even fight it. It just burst forth. Okay. So love the movie, but where does it fall apart? It falls apart in one particular scene. And that is when he brings in Gina Davis and he says, I can teleport inanimate objects, but I can't get it to teleport flesh. It gets confused by flesh. I can't send animals through it. They get all fucked up and it gets confused by the flesh, and humans can't teleport through it or whatever. To which I would say, who fucking cares? Jesus Christ, man. You've created a technology that eliminates the cost of transportation for all goods on the planet at a matter of scale. You'll work out the people part later. What's the fucking rush? You invented a thing that can teleport non-material items. Good God, man. Think how much energy, pollution that would save. You would eliminate the carbon footprint of humankind if you simply put something like this in where you could teleport things instead of putting it on a fucking truck. I know what you're thinking. I know what you're thinking, ladies and gentlemen. You're thinking, fuck, I would hate to go see a sci-fi movie with him. But you would be wrong, because I keep my mouth shut in the theater and I watch the whole thing. It's after, when we're having dinner, that I'll go, that might annoy you. But during, we'll have a great time. Great time. And it's only because I love science fiction that I start picking these things apart. So, do you understand the trillions of dollars you would make / save with this technology before you ever had to go, all right, let's see if we can figure out why we can't send a person through. Well, how about we do massive testing on a bunch of different things? Start with mice and insects and that kind of stuff, and then work our way up, or develop all this stuff, and then in the process, AI gives us the ability to figure out what the thing. Don't have a fly inside, whatever it was. Okay, so hoverboard fallacy and the fly pod issue. Both of these drive me fucking crazy because I love the movie, but why in the ever-loving shit would you care if you could teleport persons when you could teleport stuff anywhere via wire? So let's just say, how long before you make a cellular version of that? Then you could send goods ahead to any planet that you put one of these things on, right? See where I'm going? And then McFly, aha, yeah, see what happened? They are tied together. And the hoverboard would allow you also to transport things. Think of the impact that would have on the carbon output of the human race. Right? Okay. So it's all the ancillary elements of it and this sort of bum rush towards limited thinking that aggravates the shit out of me when we start talking about these issues. And when a dum-dum like Glenn Beck starts describing a future where he's like, it's going to be hypersonic missiles and it's going to shuffle the periodic table and go, hey guys, why don't you need this? Okay, well, why don't you just use this stuff, or we'll create a super material that allows a rocket to fly? Hey, asshole. If it can do that, it can show us how to power everything we have in a hoverboard-like fashion as well. Or it's a shorter distance, like how do we do free energy here using seawater? How do we solve cold fusion, right? That's what you would use it for, not a fucking missile so you could blow up somebody else. And secondarily, like once that's available, you start lowering the number of things that people have to fight for in their lives on the planet. Foodstuffs, energy, transportation, all those elements. Then you lower violence on the planet inexorably. There's boredom crimes, the psychosexual type, that those you have to be concerned with. But as far as, war across borders for resources, that basically fucking evaporates. Never mind the ability to put a ring around the earth that gathers the sun's rays, that sends energy back to it, and that we use as a fucking vacation spot. And you go to near earth gravity land, and the ability for the human race to fend off any asteroid that might kill us all, and blah, blah, blah. Then terraforming other planets, sending stuff ahead to terraform planets. That's where you would go. Instead of help me make a better hypersonic missile. It's such chump thinking.
It won't bend. It's perfect. And
why don't you use this to make all your bridges instead of missiles? And I will show you how to make it cheaply. Your infrastructure costs are going to go through the floor because I'm giving you a non-rusting material you can build bridges out of, and you could just get on the process of replacing all of them, and that will, busy your people for a decade or so, and then they'll never have to build these fucking things again. I will make your roads, be able to charge electric vehicles as they drive across them and resilient against all forms of weather using these materials. That's where you would go. You wouldn't go straight to fucking hypersonic missile.
only a quarter of the weight. And
why'd you look at Stu when you said that? Well, that wasn't nice.
Wait, here's the formula, and you don't have to go and test it for 2 years. It's correct. Do it. I mean, that's how...
Yes, AI, we will make the super missile. Yes, we will follow your orders. It said do it. Do it.
Fast things are going to happen once they start happening. And, Stu, this scares the hell out of me.
Why? Because a bunch of it's going to be about vaccines?
Do you know how I feel about AI?
Yeah, I was going to ask you, because AI...
Your intelligence is artificial. Do you just take it personally? Or?
Obviously has a lot of negative potential consequences. And if we're putting the government, military in control of that, does that scare you?
No. I'm not saying that we put the government in control of it.
Okay.
We have to balance all of this, but the government is already involved in it. I'm saying let the government build like power plants. Build the things that we know the country's going to need the infrastructure to be able to handle this. Build
our own robots to fight the AI's robots that are going to kill us all. No, what he means is the taxpayer should provide the energy sources for the future needs of AI if they turn out to need as much power as they seem to think they will. And in exchange, the private companies will plug their AIs up to it and let us have a little bit of it if we're nice to them.
The things that when they say, we got it, we can turn it on.
Yeah, get prepared for whatever's coming here.
Turn it on, turn it on, turn it on again.
Too, I guess... I'm concerned, and this is, from a guy I've talked to for 20 years who continually repeats the phrase, I'm always wrong about timing. I'm concerned about that bridge period because I think you're probably right. It is coming really, really fast. But if something happens, if something goes off course, if you don't know,
how
you
do
need
we
to be
spend?
Both of them are being stupid. Glenn's saying don't start any new F-35 projects. They're going to take a decade. And Stu's saying, what if we don't have them over the bridge area? Well, that bridge area would have to be past the 10-year mark. So you improve what you're building. Also, why wouldn't you just use AI in the interim to do both? If it's going to come up with a magic material, then you can go, we have this design. We're just going to use a different material because we came up with it because of the see what I mean? This is the hoverboard fallacy. These motherfuckers they're intellectually incapable of grasping the conversation they are actually having. And it's painful. I'm not just going to say it's painful for me to watch.
For that bridge period.
How do we spend $877 billion every single year? Every year. Mm-hmm. China spends 200 and some billion dollars every year. And it's that close?
No. It fucking isn't. You dipshit. Hold on. That's where he's going with this? Motherfucker. Hold on. Oh, God damn it. That's water pooling. Let's see. Hold on. Trying to find a picture. Yeah. Man, they're just spending. There are 2 super carriers the Chinese have. One of them is the Minsk. And this is it on fire. Old aircraft carrier, once part of mighty Soviet fleet, burns in Chinese lagoon. Of the 2 super carriers that they have, one of them caught fire last August. They're not way ahead, dum-dum. They just have a lot of people. Not as many as they say they do. It's a myth. It's bullshit. I got news for you. Russia spends a lot less too, and we've discovered that their stories about their military superiority were fake.
If it's that close, we got other problems.
You're just saying that we should sort of
should
rest on our.
First of all, asshole, it's not close. The U.S. patrols the waterways all over the world. We keep commerce flowing. That's what we spend it on. And without it, we wouldn't be the top fucking economy on the planet.
A little bit and just say, hey, we already have the best technology. We already have the best military. Let's not try to develop new things until this AI thing comes.
They're developing new stuff as well.
Yeah.
Great. Let's give some time to AI. Let's not double our work. Let's not spend money now on things that most likely are. Don't build another aircraft carrier. Don't design another F-57. Don't do it. It's not.
They aren't. An asshole, what do you think they're going to have to do? These fucking nuclear power plants you're talking about that you want built so that you can power AI, that's where you're going to spend the money, shithead. It's not like you're going to save any. You're just talking about diversion of funds.
You have no idea what's coming. Fix the stuff we have.
Glenn does.
Make sure we have the ammunition. Make sure we have the latest and the greatest that's already here. Don't do R&D on that stuff. Don't do it. And by the way, you can't tell me that, again, $900 billion over, let's say, 250 or let's say 300 for China. We spend 3 times the amount every year and we're not competitive?
Yeah, we are. Again, Chinese propaganda does not make what we've done with the U.S. military obsolete. And secondarily, the reason we spend that money is because we take care of our people after the fact. We spend a lot of it on VA. We spend it on military weapons development and procurement and making sure stuff actually fucking works. And they end up with missiles that have water in the tanks instead of fuel.
I don't believe that.
Yeah.
And if it is, everybody in the Pentagon should go to jail.
I do think we're certainly competitive.
Of course we are.
I will say that, to me, I think there's a lot of older projects. There's a bunch of crap in our military that
All
stuff
gone.
Is my higher
thanks, Stu. Get rid of the crap.
priority target, let's put it that way, than eliminating potential innovations in these fields. Even though I know what you're saying, they might be obsolete in a few years.
Then you have to come in front of a committee that is filled with Elon Musk's.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. You mean the guy whose rocket just blew up?
And say,
hey, all you Elon Musks, why are you shitting on me? None of my ships ever sank. Yeah, show these people who's boss, man. Go away, shoo. Get in here. Here we go. Play this thing. Pause and okay, beard guy. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, okay, whatever. And good for you. And piss off. And get on with it. Try to do it here. That's good.
Exploded minutes after liftoff, marking an end to its 8th test flight. The explosion has caused flight delays in several states, including Florida, after debris from...
Yeah, so all you Navy guys with your stupid fucking boats need to sit in front of Elon Musk and tell him why you're such a screw-up.
Rocket rained down in multiple states and countries. Fiery debris streaked the skies near South Florida and the Caribbean, with some wreckage landing as far north as Philadelphia. The unmanned...
Yeah. How the fuck do you... What? How do you launch a rocket in Florida and get debris in Philadelphia?
Rocket launched just after 6:30 p.m. Thursday, taking off from Texas. Starship broke up in space quickly after it appeared some of the engines...
That explains it. Everything's bigger in Texas, including rocket explosions.
...failed and began to spin out of control. The explosion marked...
Yeah, that's... you think Trump's going to come out and go, when I saw Trump's wonderful rockets, and, he's got those arms that grab it when it comes out, and it just blew up and exploded all over the place. Kind of like when Walt changes my diaper. Yeah, bunch of something super Elon Musks. Yes, they should all have to sit before Elon Musk and his exploding rockets.
Here's the pitch. I don't want the decisions be made by the senators or the generals at this point.
Yeah.
Here's the pitch. Here's why we think this fits with tomorrow's technology.
And then that can...
This is amazing. Okay, let's finish on this because this is kind of important. I have told you guys about Elon Musk's grandfather and the technocrats the technocracy. The technate, that's what they call it. There we go. Here it is. The technate of America. That's what they plan. That's what Elon Musk and his group wanted. There's Greenland, Canada, America, Mexico, and the Bahamas and Cuba and all this stuff down here, and part of South America and like Papua New Guinea. And all of it would be under the technate of America, a techno state that is not run by politicians or democracy. It's run by engineers. The purpose of the whole thing is that it will be run by engineers who will decide what's best for the people involved, based on the material worth of the people that we're talking about, their output, their energy, the money that would exchange hand would be indicative of energy. You get energy coupons, and that's how you would trade in this. And the technate concept is part of the transhumanism movement. Now, if you think like these dickheads at let me try to find a picture. There you go. The Lawson movement too. That's weird. If you think these guys hate transgender or transsexual movements, wait till you hear what they believe about transhumanism, which is the singularity where humans and technology bond and never uncouple. And that this is the shit that they warn about all the time, that they're convinced that the WEF and George Soros and all these people want. No death and an enhanced life is the future transhuman. 21st century tech revolution is transforming human lives across the globe. And the idea that you'll just basically replace parts of yourself with robot parts until such time as you can kind of live forever. And that'll be that. And transhumanism is a big part of that. There's the guy running with no legs, and cybernetics and people freezing themselves, and there's all this stuff. Okay, people who want to be alive, and there's a exoskeleton for somebody who can't walk that controls his movements from that point. Okay, so this is the transhumanism movement. This is the big, the sort of start of it, which is this crisscross between technology and human life. And well, death would be relative. I would also say, as some people are like, no death, yikes. But you wouldn't be tired either. It's a great element of one of the reasons why Superman and, to some degree, Captain America are as positive as they are, and why there's a hoverboard problem with Wolverine. And here's why. One of the reasons you develop PTSD is because of the inability to reform synapses in a damaged brain caused by trauma. It's one of the reasons. And the other thing, too, is that the exhaustion that goes with it physically in your body translates into an emotional state as almost a form of chronic pain. And if you were Superman or you were Captain America with the super soldier serum, you don't feel pain consistently beyond a certain point the way other people do it. You heal so swiftly that you don't even you couldn't even develop a form of PTSD if you tried. And when it comes to like Wolverine, because he heals next to immediately, he just gets annoyed by the pain. The anger comes from the fact that he has a memory of the pain. But even that would be short-lived because your brain wouldn't latch onto it with a mortal's force. Your brain, one of the reasons why we attach to pain so much is because there was the time between the feeling of pain and the next pain, you don't get a break. But if you would heal that fast, you would. So, or Spider-Man, similar kind of thing. It's why he has a cheery personality. Part of it is because his brain just doesn't receive the damage caused by, physical harm and the emotional harm that we all go through, because your brain would heal before you even stuffed in the bad memory, right? Okay, so, and one of the signs about this is, like the best example of it is the part in Captain America: The First Avenger where Bucky dies, and they show him, they show Steve Rogers drinking in this blown up bar, and he can't get drunk because of how his body assimilates dissipates the alcohol. His metabolism is so fucking high that he can't get drunk. Okay, and so because of that, he doesn't perceive things the way other people would if they were drunk. He could never be drunk, therefore he could never have a memory installed in his brain or removed from his brain because he was drunk. He can't miss out on it the way normal people do. So, where am I going with this? Okay, so transhumanism, if you were to live forever, you had an immortal body. While you might accumulate the memories of your life, and you might have a romantic view of those that passed and didn't continue on and all that kind of stuff, they wouldn't be burrowed into your synapses painfully the way they would be if you were moral and couldn't, after it happened. Yeah, like if you didn't grind on them and ruminate on them, caused by the synaptic growth in your brain that ties this moment with this pain and stays there. Because it would be it would heal. You would, yeah. So you can't. None of us can process what immortality would be like in a mortal body. In the same way that we're all looking at these two dipshits trying to understand intelligence. Neither of them have the contemplative ego structure capable of comprehending any of this. This is a hamster on a wheel that we're watching. You're not watching someone ruminating over a reality. And Stu, bless his heart, tries every so often to have an original thought. And because he's around Glenn, they never get off the ground. And Glenn just regurgitates stuff he's read online. Stuff I've read online as well, but you think about it. You don't just spit it back out.
an advisory role, but we do have a system of government that we have to
Yeah,
follow.
I know.
Right?
But they should be the ones who go, don't do that, Senator. Don't do that. That's stupid. Don't do that. If they want to do that, then we can vote them out.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, asshole, what the fuck do you think climate scientists were doing? Sorry, you wanted us to listen to fucking Lauren Boebert and Marjorie Taylor Greene over climate scientists? For real, think about this for a fucking second. Again, we don't need a double standard. One standard will do just fine. And it's kind of a moot point when these people have no fucking standards.
And we'll all know which ones are just doing it because they're funneling money to their friends.
What money? What friends? What, at Boeing or other businesses in North Carolina or Texas?
Part of this comes to the idea that the way I think about government spending, which is government spending is always worse than the private sector.
Fuck you. No, it isn't. The private sector has no reason whatsoever to come up with epilepsy medication. There's not a big enough market. Without the subsidies of the NIH, the CDC, and that, and ultimately Health and Human Services, you don't have treatments for a lot of these diseases because there's no impetus for them to even do it. And they're not going to do it on a whim. They're not going to just go, well, why don't we spend a decade chasing this down to see if we can find a solution for it, to never make any money. They can't. That's the government's job. Companies have to have a profit. Government's profit is entirely on the health, safety, and welfare of the citizenry, even if they go into debt doing it.
Which is a very basic conservative point, right?
Yeah, it's stupid. It's completely ignorant. Hey, Stu, when's the last time you used a private highway? Think private industry would have put together an FAA worth of fuck? We're seeing guys from the private industry try to better the FAA, and we're seeing a lot of planes fall out of the sky.
I think, though, the one time that you obviously constitutionally you have certain powers that the government spends. Defense is one of them that they're going to typically be responsible for. The way I look at it is government can do some things relatively well.
Oh, that's sweet.
If you don't care about efficiency. But businesses do, right? So they will.
No, you can't even have efficiency during the research and development process because you don't know what processes you can even shorten until you've established the existence of those processes. Stupid. Nobody looking for a cancer cure is working about the efficiencies of finding the cancer cure. They're trying to solve the fucking problem. Then, when they have the cancer cure, then they can go, okay, we didn't need this material and we can produce it better over time and lower the cost ultimately. But all R&D is inefficient. All of it. Which is exactly what you're talking about with the military. That's why he's going, don't spend $35 billion on a new airplane, whatever. Well, why would you do that? Because the R&D process is fucking expensive.
Not take certain risks that have a low percentage chance of paying off, and the idea that maybe you come up with a nuclear bomb and you're able to stop global wars for multiple decades. A private company, certainly they shouldn't be coming up with nuclear bombs, but you know what I'm saying? That type of risk, that type of expenditure that will likely fail is the type of thing that the government can take on because when you don't care about efficiency, when you don't care about, hey, we tried 25 things, 24 of them failed.
Right.
That's okay.
Look, private industry should be doing this. And
okay, first of all, the whole Edison story these dumb motherfuckers tell each other is that he didn't fail 1,000 times. He figured out 999 ways not to make a light bulb, right? That's the bootstraps and stand up on your own 2 feet and keep inventing because you don't ever know how close you are in all your failures to a final success. They'll tell, Jesus Christ, this is straight up Tony Robbins stuff, dummy. And it isn't that they don't care. Government does care about efficiency. Once the thing is built, once the thing is done. But there's no such thing as like, all right, we've got to win this war, but we have to do it efficiently in the middle of the war. Efficiency is something you do during peacetime. Efficiencies are things you come up with when all your needs are already met and you're trying to lower the costs. Efficiencies are the kind of thing that chubby fucks like these guys talk about all the time. Once your needs are all met, you can start talking about, do I really have to get up and shouldn't I have a remote control? Would that be more efficient if I could just sit here like a king with a scepter going off with his head, off with his head. I don't like this. I don't like this guy. Off with his head, off with his head. And the king of my castle, king of the castle.
Reading this, but the government's already in bed with DARPA's already doing this. I mean, the CIA was the one who helped fund Silicon Valley in the 1960s. So please
shut the fuck up. Also helped fund Silicon Valley. So please, so they decided to put it out in San Francisco to be closer to fucking what? The Tenderloin?
Let's get over our little illusion that they're not involved in any of this. Let me give you an example on something that I hope.
All right, so basically you're saying that Apple and all these trillion-dollar companies wouldn't exist if it wasn't for the government? How do these guys not just slam their face into every door they walk into? They walk through. Like, just walk over, just bash your head against a wall. How do you say shit this dumb and not realize you've just circled back on your own fucking point? God damn. I'm sorry if this is bothering everyone or boring you to tears. It's something that sticks in my craw.
President's going to talk about tonight. The private sector versus big government and Biden's spending spree. What Trump is doing and what Biden did.
Yeah, tell us all about it.
The president's been in for 40 days. I've never seen anything like this in 40 days.
Yeah, it's a bunch of proclamations and executive orders and only signed one bill, and it was something that the Democrats negotiated. They just slapped another name on it to get Republicans to vote for a border bill. Fucking fantastic.
So he's been in office for 40 days, and the numbers he's bringing into the economy are staggering.
No, they're not. They're all from the Chips and Science Act.
Yesterday, Taiwan Semiconductors,
which got the seed money and the loans and the approval from the Chips and Science Act,
is the greatest news you could possibly hear if you understand what this means. Taiwan,
and Glenn does,
makes all of the best semiconductors and superconductors, and they're dropping $100 billion to
by the way, MADE is doing a lot of work here. They manufacture them. They're designed in Silicon Valley by American companies, and many of which, Glenn thinks were seeded by the CIA, probably alien tech.
Chip factories here in America. Apple, $500 billion over 4 years to crank up its manufacturing. Think Texas.
Because they're shutting down the fucking Chinese stuff because of the Chips and Science Act. They got the seed money and the tax breaks for a decade.
Plants, not sweatshops. SoftBank is in for $100 billion on AI. UAE is tossing $20 billion into data centers. That's $700 billion in private sector commitments. Now, some people are saying that it's as high as $1.7 trillion, but I can't track those numbers and I can get a lot of rumors. I can get a lot of, yeah, maybe, but I don't have, this is real. This is almost $1 trillion. Remember the investment for Barack Obama, the Reinvestment Act was $787 billion. This is $720 billion, all coming not from tax dollars, not from government IOUs, but real money from companies all around the world that are betting on America.
Well, they're also retreating into America as China collapses.
This number, like I said, can be.
And also, by the way, the government money that went out in the Recovery Act and specifically because of the 2009 crash salvaged the entire fucking economy, which is worth $30 trillion. Meanwhile, you think these guys investing 1.7 over the course of over a decade or over 6 years is integral to the existence of the economy. It's definitely necessary, definitely a great idea, but it's a trickle compared to what ultimately AI is going to do.
Verified, and they're not handouts. Now, just the investment from TCMC could mean 40,000 construction jobs and 6,000 high-tech gigs.
Hey, asshole, the construction jobs go away, right?
Thousands. This is the private sector, not because Uncle Sam wrote a check, but because
Uncle Sam wrote a check.
Demanded the same rules on tariffs for everyone. We're going to charge you what you charge us.
Yeah, no, the stuff that's made by Taiwan Semiconductor in Taiwan doesn't fall under the tariff stuff because it's American companies making their stuff there. There is no fucking way that he would charge them a tariff on necessary semiconductors that we have to have for everything. You know, dude, he's called off his fucking Canada and Mexico tariffs. You don't think he would call them off on semiconductors that we desperately need for the Golden Dome?
That is fair on any playground anywhere in the world. And then he sweetened the deal by cutting the red tape and the tax advantages that no other country will offer and said, build it here, bring those jobs here.
Right, which is a financial incentive. You cut regulation and taxes, then they pay less to do it. And they got the seed money from the Biden administration, so he's double dipping them. Dumb.
We're a stable country.
Fuck me. Again, the amount of dumb floating around maggot land right now is stunning. And I have to say, it is only rivaled by the duplicity and the double standards that they have. And it seems like they are just fucking unable to grasp it. Like they are just not capable of of processing any of this shit. It's fucking painful. Like I practically get a nosebleed listening to them. Now, speaking of nosebleed, I posted something earlier today on my Substack. Did anybody see it? Anybody in the chat room? Did you see my did you guys see that stuff? I was very proud of it. I posted something called Sparks's Law. And it's sort of my first play at it. This is not a repeat. It just feels like it because Glenn and them are saying the same stupid shit. So, I made this. I've been talking about this for a little bit. I'm still working on the hoverboard fallacy paper and the like. But I went in and I was like playing with Claude, and I was like, you know what? I can probably work out the actual math of this thing if I feed it enough stuff and come up with an equation that works. And so I started working on it. And so I wrote this up today. And Sparks' law is based on the premise that all consumer technology is fundamentally deflationary. That's the premise that I've been floating around for a long time. And I was trying to find a way to quantitate it in a way that you could measure, kind of like Moore's law, computer, the number of transistors on a chip, on a microprocessor doubles every 2 years effectively. And therefore they speed up and lower energy usage every 2 years. And that was Moore's law. And it's held fairly constant for a while. But I put this kind of idea like that not only is technology materially deflationary, but the ubiquity of it, the availability of it is also a major factor. It isn't that it just gets faster and cheaper, but in that process of getting faster and cheaper, people have access to stuff that kings only once could have if everything worked in their favor. Like every piece of technology on your phone, every little, like these earphones that I'm using are AI enabled. I don't really use them for that much because they're just really good sound for this, and they link up really well. And that the AI seems to, the best thing it does is reconnect and make sure that it's maximizing the audio that I'm hearing and doesn't blow my ears out, and I have to moderate it while I'm doing the show. It just solves that I might need to be worrying about one more thing, takes that out of the equation. The technology that's just in these earphones, these earbuds, would be a fucking storyline in an early 80s Bond film. Conceptually, like the stuff that's available to it. And so one of the things that I put into this that I was trying to really get across was the democratization index. And this would be the concept that not only is it that things get cheaper and, faster, but the availability of it. Who can have it? The fact that you can walk into a 7-Eleven and buy a cell phone and a card and put time on it with $20 and make a phone call to the other side of the earth is fucking ridiculous still. And it's been normal for quite some time. So to me, like, this speaks to where we are, and it fits in with sort of the hoverboard fallacy and the thing I have with the fly pods. But there are a couple of different things, and I had to do a variation on it because in electronics, there's a very distinct kind of Moore's Law aspect of it that speeds up. But appliances, it's more because they're big and cumbersome, and people don't tend to get rid of their old one until it breaks. And even then, after that, it's cheaper to get a new one than to fix it, and they're still expensive. But the average one available to the, on the cheap end at Home Depot of washer dryer sets is equal to the most extraordinary top of the line ones from the mid 90s. And never mind the Internet of Things aspect that exists in the finer ones, in the nicer ones. If you're willing to spend an extra $200 or something per unit, like, it's fucking crazy. We were just looking at them for Ethan when he was moving in because he had to replace the washer dryer in his place because people's stanky washer dryers are fucking frightening. But just looking at them and kind of taking it in, like, oh my God, the available stuff, like a refrigerator that, one of these dual door refrigerators that has a freezer in it and stuff, those would be $3,000 back in the 90s. And now a $3,000 fridge, a $2,200 fridge has a fucking smart screen on the front of it that not only shows you what you need to buy and has a little like menu and your schedule, and you can leave family notes and stuff, but you can also tap it and it will show you the inside of it. So you're not opening it up and refrigerating the room while you decide that you don't want to snack after all anyways, right? Just, like, the technology is fucking crazy. And comparing that to, where we have been and the normalization of it, I tried to create an equation that incorporates all this, the time and years for them to reach a price point, which would be P, and the democratization level of D. That's T, P times D. This is a point where it's cheap enough where everybody can get it, so much so that you can get a toy version of it like the hoverboard, or it's just available to you because there was a point where a cell phone was something that only the richest people had in their limos, and now, like I said, you can buy one at 7-Eleven. That point, okay, that's the time, equals, and that's your end result. The initial price at introduction, the target price point times each other, the rate of the technological deflation, the accelerator factor, and then the democratization index would be here, which is another, you have to go to this. It's math. But the point being is that it's availability in the market, how you can get it, its ubiquity, and its affordability. And then the function multiplier, which is the thing that, like, oh my God, you can buy something now on the cheap that only the richest, you'd see on Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous, right? You can only now do that. And so the Sparks coefficient, which would be the comparison of the rate of democratization across categories, is spun out here. And then it's modified for the appliances because they are a different material. I'm just telling you that Nerd Halen isn't just a lifestyle or a pun. It's a real thing. Good phones are still expensive. Well, smartphones were. I have no idea why you're not in college. Well, I never went. Function is increasing function where the rate of increase slows as time passes. Yes and no, because we don't actually know the limits of technological impact. And a lot of this is about consumer availability, material availability. This all started because I was trying to quantify how much of the rare earth materials that are being produced in this this mine outside of Las Vegas how much it will produce in terms of what the world's need of it is, or the United States. Could we cover how much the United States needs? And right now, it looks like it will produce about 15% of the rare earth minerals needed on Earth. And if the U.S. needs 25% of those, it won't cover all of them, obviously, but it'll cover more than half of our needs. And that's just one site. If they had 2 more sites, we're done. It's raw earth, right? So, anyways, if you check out my Substack, I wrote that there. I don't make anything I do on there. I don't charge for anything on there. I know I should and all that stuff and this, all that, whatever. So if you want to subscribe for money or whatever, you can, but I don't make you. But I'm trying to, there are areas of this where I'm trying to put my thumb on the scale or put my flag in the ground on certain issues and certain things, so that at one point, it's almost like a bookmark in dealing with this, okay? You think it was a corollary, not a coefficient? Well, the coefficient is drawn from an equation specific to appliances in that case, if we're talking about the same thing. So, and rare earths are neither rare nor are they just earth or whatever. And they're not even just on Earth. Shit, would be one of those points where we lasso an asteroid or find broken up ones and go, hey, look, it's all in here. We got one asteroid that's full of the rare earth minerals that we need, and we'll just lasso it and bring it, fly it to the moon and mine it there, and then send little ships to crash into the ocean, and then we'll go salvage them, right? So the important thing, and this is, hold on, I'm gonna blow this up. What is the Hal Sparks Substack link? It is halsparks.substack.com. Pretty straightforward. So, but the important thing is that I'm going to use it specifically as a way of doing like I've done with the bill on bots and this kind of thing, to start just putting my flag in the ground, going, here's where I stand on this. Here's where I'd like to draw attention to, an element of this in the same way. So anyways, check it out. You will see the myriad of stories that I put on there. And the important thing is that there's, in terms of the posts, the California Social Media Bot and Foreign Account Transparency Act is on there. I'm looking for input on that until I finish. I did the deep dive primer on the Zizians, the crazy transgender cult murderers that are fucking weird. And then, of course, I just did this recent one. Also, I've done a bit on the stroke of the pen fallacy, which I hope people will share, because it's very important to the political conversation that people are aware of this weakness that people have. So check out the stroke of the pen fallacy on my Substack and share it. That would be lovely. As a matter of fact, I will, if I may, I'm going to grab that link and I'm going to throw it in the chat for you guys so that you guys can share it about if you feel like it, and do me just absorb it yourself. So, and then I will let you guys go for the evening, and I will see you on the radio tomorrow. Monday is going to be crazy. I'm just letting you know. I'll tell you why later, but here you go. There's the link. halsparks.substack.com, post /p/ the stroke of the pen fallacy. It's right there. Please read it, share it, absorb it. You'll see why it's important to the conversation that I'm trying to present to everybody. And That's it. Okay. Now that's we're done for the evening. I dragged Rob Glenn, for almost 45 minutes after the end of the show, and I'm lucky if I get him to do the whole 2 hours, much less this. So, over the next little bit, please. Oh wait, hold on. I gotta stop that because I have a button that I built. Let's see if it works. I don't know if it will. Wish me luck. But take care of yourselves and take care of somebody else. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on the radio show tomorrow. Oh, yeah. The credits are rolling, and the thing worked. And let's see if it times out right. Wish me luck. It's supposed to do everything automatically. It'll stop the stream on its own. Wait. I gotta sit here and watch, otherwise it'll fail. And then it'll keep streaming all night. Somebody will have to text me and go, it didn't work. It's still alive. You're still live. We can hear what you're saying. You're still live. Son of a bitch. By the way, I gave it plenty of time because I wanted to make sure the credits rolled. Thank you guys so much.